Hi, I'm Leslie from 7th Bone Tailoring, and not only am I a tailor, but I also make women's motorcycle boots. So one of the things that I'm known for and my brand is the detail. So I wanted to take you into my factory today and show you how to set rivets, and we're going to be putting them on a denim jacket to add a little bit of detail. As I'm starting my project, I want to measure out where I'll be sewing on the leather. I'm going to use these stitch lines as a guide, so I went 12 on each side, so I want to prep 24 inches with my leather strips. So I'm going to take my leather strips and then cut them to size. So I need 12 inches and then a little bit more just as a extra for both sides, and they're going to sit like this with the rivets on them, and then we're going to lace it up. So I'm actually going to take you into my factory and show you how to apply the rivets. So the first thing is to take a ruler and lay out your leather strip. We're gonna mark our holes for setting our rivets. We don't wanna do it down the center because we're gonna sew on one side, so we kinda want it towards the edge. So think that you're gonna sew here and run the rivets here. Making a nice line. Every 1 inch I'm gonna mark with a Sharpie, a guideline for my holes. And I'm going to take my hole punch. It's really important to find the size of the hole that you're going to need for your rivet. So this one you can usually see because it'll sit on it like that. Like this one's definitely going to be too small, but this one should be about right. And if your hole punch doesn't have the right setting, always go smaller because you can always clip it to make it fit. So this is my hole size, and now that I have the guide, I'm just going to follow the guide and punch holes. Now that I have my strip with all my hole punches, see how it's offset to the side, I'm going to start putting the rivets in. So I'm taking my pounding board, which you can also use a cutting board at home if you don't. And then what you're going to do is first read the instructions on the rivets, but mine go like this. Put them on facing, so this is my top one, and then you have like a little anvil with a divot. You take your facing side down, and then this part here has another divot, and then you line it up, so it should fit in like that, the anvil, and then your guide, and you're going to hit it 1 or 2 times fairly good. And now you have a rivet. So you're going to continue to do that all the way down. I'll do another one so you can see. So this hole is too small, so I'm going to take a little pair of scissors and just clip it just a little bit. And now it fits. I'm going to put it on my anvil, and then take this piece So now I've prepped rivets onto the leather, and I'm going to just line this up for where I want it on the jacket. So I just want to make sure to pin it. I'm going to pull it under a little bit and start to pin it down so I can sew it. I wanted to make sure these were even. So now that I've pinned my leather pieces down, it's actually faux leather, I'm going to set up my machine. So you want to use a 52 presser foot. This has Teflon on the bottom. This is for the Bernina machine. The other thing you can do is you can take your number 1, if that's all you have, and actually take Scotch tape and put it on the bottom. So you're trying to keep the leather or pleather from sticking. So you can just put some on the bottom of your presser foot, and this will help it glide along the fabric. I'm going to go ahead and use my Teflon. It's very important that you remember to not put your presser foot down when you have your Teflon foot on, The feed dogs will actually mess up the bottom and it'll keep it from sliding. So it's very, very important to remember that. So I'm gonna take my jacket and I'm gonna set up my stitch. Since I wanna kind of stitch to the right and not necessarily down the center, I'm going to adjust where my stitch is. So I'm going to use my dial and move my needle over to the right. Okay. Back stitch. Oh, also you want to use between a 3.5 and a 4, more on the 4 side for stitch length, because with pleather and leather, you want the stitches to be farther away from each other, because when they're really close, they'll start to rip the fabric. You don't have to worry about the edge. I like to just clean it up along the seam here, and then I'm going to stitch this down to enforce it. And again, just making sure that my stitch is all the way to the right. So when you stitch the other side, you're gonna flip your needle to the other side. So same thing. Make sure there's no fabric underneath of here. And I'm going to trim along the seam. And the next step is to trim off all of these little pieces. Good. Pull out your needles. And you're going to lace up the back of your jacket. Just do a little crisscross. I'm using a leather cord. If you don't have leather cord and you use like a regular cord that's fraying, you can always take Scotch tape and wrap it around the end like this, and then trim off the excess. And this will help you have a guide for your cord if you want to thread it that way too. So I laced up my jacket, and it's really cool because you can start at any point that you want. I wanted to finish about this point because I like this part open, but I really love when the waist is really fitted in my jackets. I'm gonna put it on so you can see it in action. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found my tutorial useful in your next project. For more tips and tricks from 7th Bone Tailoring, check out Bernina's website, www.realsew.com.